What's good? What's good, y'all? This your baby J Jack in the building. You know what it do. You know what it is. Thawed magazine. Man, we appreciate y'all for coming and kicking it with us. You know, whether you kick it now, kick it later, check us out on the podcast, however you listen, however you watch. We appreciate the support. Appreciate however you rocking with us from Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Michigan, wherever you kicking it from. Appreciate y'all. We got a special guest in the building. We're gonna go ahead and introduce him. Matter of fact, we're gonna let him introduce himself. What's up, my baby? How you doing over there?
Man, I'm great, man. I can't complain, man. Just living a life, man. Just enjoying what I do and taking matters into my own hands, man. But I go by William Brown, but I'm also called Dollar Will. Got my own podcast, 35 from Saginaw, Michigan, and just trying to make the world a better place. So,
No doubt.
yeah,
No doubt. You said dollar will.
yes, sir.
Dollar will. No doubt. Dollar will. And tell them what you do. You know what I'm saying? I know what you do. You know what I mean? But just
Yeah.
let them know a little bit about, let's say you do a couple of things. But we're going to talk about the 1804 show, Exodus. But let them know, besides, what I'm saying, those two, just put it in a nutshell. What you describe what you do as.
Oh, I'm just an activist, man. So, if anything, I realize that a lot of people can't go outside and protest or just give their um, opinions and expressions. So, I decided to jump into the media market to get my point across and to reach different people from different areas and different cities, states, and stuff like that. This is a movement. This is not just I would say this is not like um a a, a thing where it's just for me. I wanted to implement everybody, so that's why I say it's a movement. But I do my podcast for like 5 days a week, and also a historian as well, and I do music too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, music, and that's what Thought Magazine. We cover a lot of music. You know what I mean, as
Hmm.
far as that. What made you jump into the music? Because I ain't see that at first. When we've been kicking it for a year now, 2 years. You know
Yeah.
what I mean. I think when we
Yeah.
first ran up. So what got you into the music, or you always been into it?
Well, I always wanted to be a rapper, but I didn't have the skill set for it like that. So I just knew just from being a businessman is that you got to have more avenues into your brand. So I wanted to just put music in the mix because music brings people together. So I decided
Yeah,
to just begin doing compilations and just giving people who um, haven't gotten much exposure or just big names around the city and all over the place, and just all of us come together because I look at my projects as the super friends, just
hmm
how they all came together under the Justice
yeah,
League, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was just on and just wanted to just correlate different styles, different genres, um, just allowing people to express themselves and just have fun because I have a personal relationship with every artist that ever gave me a track, and because I really know what to do as far as like which direction that I want to go, because it's just fun to start something and then make yourself have a deadline, and it's nothing like that. And then when you meet that deadline, it's just like, dang, like you can go to bed feeling accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely feel you on that. I mean, I used to love the music game. Being able to just be creative. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And put your inner thoughts out there. A lot of artists. I used to rap way back. Uh,
Hmm.
but any artist, you can almost you kind of visualize how they probably thought about something, a rhyme or a lyric or verse or however it goes. So a lot of creatives like to hear new music. So that's good. What artists have you worked with like on there? On your, I think you got
Oh,
what, 3 volumes?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. Shout out to my guys, Rockstar Perp, Biz two times. And I had just met up with No Sleep Ursh. You know, he from the block and everything like that. He was the first guy to send me a unreleased track, and he didn't have to do that. So I commend him for that. I will always have love for him. Um, Shout out to Mike Spliff from Slip and Slide Records. Just a little bit of everybody. You're gonna make me forget about everybody. I can't even name everybody. But
I'm
those
gonna say you're
but
gonna be able to
those
get them all in
few
there.
right there, you know, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Speaking of
But at the
Blizz,
end of the day, man, like everybody, uh-huh.
oh no, I was just saying. Speaking of
You said
Blizz,
what?
I had to put you. I said speaking of Blizz, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I said speaking of Blizz, because I had to change the. You see the name up there. I had Blizz's name up there still when I started. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
I
okay.
looked. I said, wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had to hurry up and change it up there. So yeah,
Oh,
Blizz was just on here last week.
yeah, I saw that, man. Cool guy,
Salute to them.
man. And yes, salute to him, man. But just everybody, man, just from the singers and from the rappers and stuff, I try to just blend everybody's style, blend everybody's artistry because I just love music because I look at music very differently from everybody else because I feel that everybody has different tastes of different fields. So I wanted to have like each song mean something, like with all my projects and everything. Because when I did the um, the volume 2, which was like a '90s, early 2000 thing, I wanted to just create a time machine when we was all like, because I was in high school, during the early
Mm,
2000s and stuff
mm,
like that. So it just was really
yeah.
a fun time for me and just all those songs and stuff. And everybody just was like, man, that's a great idea, man. Everybody ain't doing that like that. But I'm just a big fan of samples anyway. So it's like my
Mm,
favorite mixtape so far. But
yeah.
the chapter 3, the volume 3, um, I just wanted to just have a theme like I'm established, I made it, you know what I'm saying? Because I really felt like just with this one, I had to go all out because I wanted to finish the Exodus saga on a personal note. Because when I first started it, um, I just always been like a big fan of that chapter of the Bible, just with Moses and just how he found out who he was and just had to pretty much be his purpose and stuff. Because even though he was like the Prince of Egypt and stuff like that, he still
Hmm.
had to go back and do what he had to do. He had to go fill his purpose and stuff. And he
Yeah.
felt like he wasn't to part or he was the wrong messenger to do it or the wrong deliverer. So I just wanted to name it after that because I've really been feeling like just I was chosen to be a leader because I've always been a leader. I always didn't fit in. I wasn't popular, and I don't want people to think that that I was just always had it like this because I did it. Because people looking at me now, they like, man, like you the man, and you this and that. Like I wasn't always like that. I don't want people to have that conception because I was shy, man. I couldn't talk to people, man. I was just always a mute,
Hmm.
and now people see me talking and interacting with people. They like, dang, like you talk. I'm like, yeah, I talk now. I'm fierce. I'm confident now. So I just had to
Yeah.
I just had to take just matters into my own hands because if this was going to work, I had to push it like it was going to work and just really show
Hmm.
people that you can always reinvent yourself. You don't always have to be the same. It's elevation and evolving. It's key to
Yeah.
success. So That's
Oh
what I
yeah,
wanted to do.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's good. And that's one reason I love like music. The whole game is
Hmm.
some of the reasons you said is in this expression. Is able to express yourself, and a lot of times it bring a lot of people out they natural. 'Cause a lot of times you feel like maybe if we didn't music, we wouldn't be out there with people as much. I don't know. What I mean, you never know. But with music, it makes you interact. It brings you to the people closer, which is good. What I mean? It's a great feeling to be able to just express yourself, whether you're doing podcasts, whether you're doing music, whether you're writing books, whether you're doing movies. What I mean? Just to be able to see other people how they gravitate to you or they enjoy what you do, and it makes you open up even more when you be receptive. Of course, you got people that hate or you have people that don't support as much, but it's the fact that the ones that do or the ones that do support. What I mean? When you focus on the ones that do, it make you feel a lot better and make you just be you. What I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's dope. What I mean? And the fact, like I like your content because you don't stay in one lane. Uh like I say, I do hip hop mostly, but R&B. I do. I'm a person of like culture is what we got. Like we got a show called When Life Talk, sports. What I mean? So I enjoy other people that got other content than just gossip or who shot who or what I mean. No knock against anybody that stay in that lane, but it's so much more to us. What I mean? So I appreciate what you do as far as that. What I mean? Tell them about what I'm saying how you do you break it up into segments or is that all part of your podcast or when you break down like Black history or the things that happen in the travesties that happen to our people. What I mean? Is that like a separation or is it all together with 1804 when 1804 show like when you interview artists? Is it all one collective?
I would say that like when I interview artists and when I talk about like my life, that's the 1804 show. And when I do my history segments, that's a separate entity because I want to have people to just be able to enjoy like many others because um, you can't really put, I would say that you can't put certain subjects into one thing because it would throw people off. So I don't really count my history segments into my show because that's separate to me. Because um, my regular episodes, I would say I did 371. I'm about to be on 372. But my history stuff, I would say it's 88 episodes so far. So that's how I wanted to
Okay.
like break it down because I want people to just be able to catch up and don't be confused. But I'm still the same person. I ain't got no evil twin doing these shows, everybody. But that's just how I do things.
You say he was twin, he said
Yeah, because a
no
lot of
doubt.
people was like, "Oh, I thought you was doing your 1804 show. What's this 1804 history?" And I was just like, "No, it's the like don't get it wrong, don't get it twisted. It's like the G League with the NBA." So I just wanted
Yeah.
to just do it like that so people won't get confused.
Okay. No doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt. Hey, and we want y'all appreciate anybody that's kicking it. We got one with us right now. We had a couple in and out. We got some people probably just hitting the speaker and listening. However you're doing it, we appreciate you. You kicking it with Thawed Magazine. You kicking it with Dollar Will, 1804 Show, Exodus, Volume 3. Y'all go check that out. What I mean? Go to this page. It's in the links. You can check it out. Podcast later. We'll be on the podcast. So go on Amazon or any major podcast format. Type in Thawed Magazine. You can see any past podcast, and you can catch this one later too. And like I said, we kicking it with Dollar Will today, and we just finding out some things about him. You know what I mean? Just kicking it. So you got something on your chest too. We talked about, and I'm thinking. I'm trying to
Yeah,
see how
yeah,
can I
yeah.
ask the question. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see how I can ask the question, but my thing, I want to start with this might lead to it, but support. How do you feel like with the support and versus the hatred? Or is this people
Woo!
You know, just not accepting because it seemed like I don't know. You know, we both from Saginaw. I've been in Saginaw for
Hmm.
years. Uh, I can tell you from like my experience, I love Saginaw, but I know how it can be. And
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
doing the magazine for almost 20 years,
Hmm.
and I feel like I've been able to, like, you check out my website, anything, it's on level of any other website. Other artists from Texas, Florida, Louisiana, they all they love it. You know what I mean? But it's like we might not get that same love from where you're
Hmm.
from. What do you think is like
No.
the issue there?
Um,
Like, what's the
I just
core? What's the
think
root?
that, well, the root is politics, and I think um it's just more like a popularity contest. It's more like um if like the gatekeepers, because there's gatekeepers everywhere, even in Saginaw. You know what I'm saying? They follow who they want to follow, but I feel like when it came down to it, people really didn't take me seriously, and it was just, to a lot of people it was a phase because they was just like clowning me. The first episode that I aired, the 1804 show, man, they clowned me. You know, they talked about me really bad and stuff like that because they didn't
During the
see the vision.
during the show?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I still keep the screenshots because I screenshotted it. You know, it was crazy, but
For
once
real?
I kept on coming back, and I had my first guest out of Chicago. His YouTube channel is History with No Chaser, and I interviewed him. And then after that, that's when I became solidified. But
Hmm.
to be honest with you, bro,
Damn.
I didn't do this for clout. You know, I did this because I went through something.
Yeah.
You know, I was depressed. I lost my brother. I lost my dad. I lost my last remaining grandparents, and I was messed up. I was suicidal myself. And
Mm.
luckily, it took for my nephew to be born because my sister always had girls and stuff like that. So I was used to that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I was used to them and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I was battling, like going through just being a young man and just trying to overcome so much and still have to work and still have to provide for my family because I'm the only man in my family. So everybody didn't
Hmm.
understand and everybody didn't know what was going on. Like, because I didn't really want to tell anybody and stuff like that. So once my godson was born on December 29th,
Yeah.
2019, um, it was something different. I had to do something different with my life, and my homeboy, who's also my god brother now and shit, he just was like, man, you should do your show, man. You been talking about doing this show. You need to do it. You need to chase after your dreams. And I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna listen to me. He like, man, you be so surprised, man. You have a story. You a good dude. You smart. You know, you do that shit. And I would just keep on making excuses and stuff. That's why I feel like I'm Moses because I was making excuses after burning bush. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I had to just, you know, do what I got had to do, and then he bought my equipment. You know what I'm saying? Bought me my ring light, bought me my headphones, bought me a lot of shit. So now you gotta do it, and I was like, damn,
yeah, it's
can't
on
say
now.
no now. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
crazy because like that Saturday, um, I just had withdrawn from everybody at work, and I just thought about how I was gonna do it, how I was gonna construct it, analyze it, and just what I was going to call it because I really didn't have a name yet, and I knew I had to be original with it. I had to call it something that was going to get people attention, but I also wanted it for the ancestors. So that morning, I watched the 1804 History of Haiti by Tariq Nasheed, and
Yeah.
it just spoke to me, just how Haiti won its independence, and groups of black people, man, working together and fighting against the French and the Spaniards and stuff, and how they was outnumbered, but they worked as a team. And I was like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
like that's it. That's the sign right there. So that's when
Mm-hmm.
it was born. January 2nd, 2021, man. That's when it was born. So, and I've been rocking it ever since.
Yeah, that's dope. And he told y'all basically how the 1804 show came about and how he came up with the name of it. So you see the creativity, you see
Mm-hmm.
how he created it. Uh, and a lot of your thoughts, like the Exodus, you can already see if you can piece it all together. Is that you love history? You're a student of the history. You're a student of just things that go on. Uh, for the
Yeah.
streets, I would say lit. But you know that so that's basically for anybody that's basically watching. Let them know how much history plays a part in not just recent history or even last 20 years or so, but just history in general plays a part in what you do.
Oh man, it plays a huge part because it teach me and tells me that um, if you don't know your history, how you gonna have a future? You know, and just being able to um, overcome the critics and overcome the non-support and just being able to know that it was somebody before you had to go through the atrocities and the ridicule and had to get it from the mud because we come from people that marched in the civil rights movement, walked miles in order to register to vote, and got beat up by the local police departments or the deputies, and water hoses sprayed on them and tear gas thrown on them and stuff like that. Because I watched all that shit, man,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
seemed like nothing has changed, and it hurts now because it's no longer um, people in the white sheets. It's your own people doing this to you. The people you grew up with, people that you work with, people that know you, or seeing you grew up. It hurts, because I have a big heart. I always looked out for people. It was a lot of people that came on my show that a lot of people didn't know who they were, but I treated them like they was a star. And they don't
Mm.
share or promote my channel. They don't tell people about me, or they start other platforms and stuff and trying to compete. I don't compete with anybody. If anything, bro, like I stay in my lane. I ain't never switched up my objective. My objective been the same since day one. But I can't
Yeah.
help the fact that I have a different audience that I was smart enough to change my market. I wanted this to be an all Saginaw show, but Saginaw doesn't support like that. So I was smart enough
Mm.
to go out of town. I was smart enough to go to Detroit. I was smart enough to go to California. Like my brand has hit each region of this country and two
Mm.
countries out of the United States because I was thinking big. You think big, you get big. If you think small, you go stay small.
True
So
indeed.
I have
I've been
no,
big on that.
uh, so I have, yeah. So I have no
Uh,
reason be, to apologize for anything that I said tonight because I have been very reasonable and I have been very patient, and I'm not going to
yeah, I seen.
stunt my growth for anybody.
Yeah, I seen that one time you put on there about you wasn't doing no Saginaw artists before. It was a while ago. I think they had really
Yeah.
got you heated.
Yeah, and I try not to, and I try not to fall for that trap, bro. It's a trap, bro, because they won't, because like the thing is that they will provoke you, and then expect you not to say anything, and expect you not to defend yourself. But I have been very patient. I realize it's not everybody's mentality. It's just certain people walk around with the Hollywood mentality and they haven't made it. You know what I'm saying? They think they made it because they get in certain plays and stuff like that. But we are so non-existent. Like, if you haven't gotten anybody that has sold records on your platforms or features and this and that, you ain't doing shit. You ain't doing nothing. And
Uh-oh.
me being the
Uh-oh.
guy that, I started this from my living room. You know what I'm saying? I started this in
Yeah.
my living room, bro, in my small apartment. But I have reached out to people. I talked to people. I had representation as far as like my channel, you know what I'm saying, so they can look at it and they was like, oh, it's not like, you ain't bullshitting and stuff like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
just treating them with grace and this and that. Came to him humble because I'm a humble cat, bro. Like, if anything, I'm a man first, and you know how it is when you're a
True.
man and people try to like insult your intelligence. Like, you don't know what's going on, but you know what's going on. You just trying to be professional, and people ain't professional like that. I think they think
Yeah.
you owe them something, and I'm like, no, like I have busted my ass. I hustle. If you want to make it in whatever field or whatever profession, hustle for it. Fight for that shit like I did, because I was counted out from day one. I was counted out. I was ridiculed. This and that. I went from that to having over 300 episodes and just grinding, bro, working 30, 40 hours a week and still coming home and do my show, man, late at night, bro. I was just like tired. I was like drinking a lot so I could stay
Oh, I
awake,
already
bro.
know.
I but
I
I
know
did
I
that
go.
shit. but
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
worked, I worked my behind off, bro. Like, and I still work my behind off because I'm still hungry. No matter if I made it, no matter if I signed that contract, bro, whatever network, bro, I'm still gonna work like this because I don't want to go back to where I came from.
When you came back, would you talk about, let them understand that a little bit of what you mean by where you come from, more like a mentality, right? Or how do you describe
Yeah.
like where you come from? You don't want to go back to.
Okay. Well, throughout my entire life, I always felt like I wasn't accepted. I'm like the black sheep of my family from both sides of my family. Like, because my daddy family didn't accept me because they didn't like my mom, and my mama family didn't accept me because they didn't like my daddy. So
Mm,
I look just like my daddy, but I look like my mom too. I have a mixture, but it was just like, how the children suffer from the parents' sins sometimes and all that. So I suffered from
yeah.
my parents' sins. So I was never accepted, and I had to
Mm-hmm.
go through just being diagnosed with autism at 3. So I was at the molest center. I was bullied. I was just um told that you won't be nothing, or that you too stupid, or you too dumb, or you would never be like
Mm,
other kids, bro. But I always knew
damn.
that that wasn't me. That was something that they was telling me, and I heard this from family and everybody, you know what I'm saying? So now
Mm,
they see me doing all these amazing things. Now they want to be a part of something, or now they want to, accept me or include me in things and stuff like that. And I never really spoke about it publicly, but when people graduated and people have birthday parties and this and that, they don't invite me. They don't call me,
damn.
So
Yeah.
now I was like, oh snap, like you gonna be the next millionaire in the family. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna be a millionaire for myself. Fuck this family. Both sides of the family. Like, I don't mean everybody in the family, but the ones who don't fuck with me, the ones who don't call me, the ones who don't see how I'm doing. Because a lot of people left me for dead, bro, when my brother passed away.
Mm,
And that shit fucked up
yeah.
because my brother was a human being. Like, even though he had his ways and his flaws, that was still my brother, bro. And I've been to his grave more
Mm,
than the cousins that he grew up with, bro. And that shit hurt,
yeah. Yeah.
and I ain't gonna
Yeah. I can
let
tell. I
y'all
can feel
do
it as a sting you.
me like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was
But
like, a reality check because you said what?
No, I was going to say, do you think that's just like your family or part of family or just something that history created? You think history had a part of that? You know what I mean? With creating that divide like that, that something happened maybe down before you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I believe um we're reacting generational curses. You know, it's some generational curses in all of our families. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's family uh has a generational curse, but everybody don't break it. You know, but certain people are fortunate
Mm-hmm.
enough to look inside themselves and say, I don't want to end up like that. Or if you come from a just abusive family, or because everybody think
Mm-hmm.
abuse is just physical, but it's mental, it's
Nah, it's mental.
narcissistic, it's mental, psychological. So we went through a lot of psychological things from back in slavery. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened after that? Because there was no counseling, there was no therapy. You know,
Yep.
slaves live out their lives and they pass that shit down to their descendants, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, I love my family, but it's just a lot of fake shit be going on and I stay away. And that's why I don't come around because people just want to be around you just in case you make it. You know what I'm saying? That's why they keep tabs on you a little bit. They don't really see how you doing. They just see what you able to do, what you able to operate, you know, because I shocked a lot of people in the family when I dropped on my YouTube channel and stuff when they was like, are you still doing the same old stuff? And I'm like, hell no, I'm a boss. I'm a CEO. You know, you better Google me. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all had me messed up. Whatever thoughts y'all had, like I came up. You know what I'm saying? So a
Yeah.
lot of them,
Yeah.
just be like, dang, like you did all this, and I'm like, yes, me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the
That's what's
best
up.
thing ever, bro, is that the feeling of victory when you didn't give up on yourself and when everybody just abandoned you, it's like being thrown in a unmarked grave and people
Yeah.
buried you, but you ended up climbing out of that motherfucker. It's the best feeling in the
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
world, man.
Man, that fighting that struggle, man. I already feel you. You know, I gotta shout out my peoples, man. Mark Diggs, I see you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody out there chilling. We kicking it with Dollar Will in the building. We getting a little deep on the family conversation and slavery and everything. And that's why I like kicking it with my dog, because we can go on them levels, man. And I respect his thought process on that. And we just kicking it with Dollar Will. Y'all go check out the 1804 show. Go check out his music, Exodus, Volume 3. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And gotta say 1804 show part 2. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
So all the link, you can go to the link. The links is in the description of his Facebook page, his IG page to keep track of him. Go and check him out. And you know, we just kicking it with him right now. Like I said, we've been talking about all the things he do. We've been talking about family. We're getting a little deep. I had to break it off Will a little bit. You know what I mean?
I'm trying
Just a
to,
little bit.
hey, bro, I'm just trying to make sure that this one of your top fives ever, man, because it's a lot. I know it's a lot to process, but hey, man, I'm just being real,
I
bro.
feel you.
This is my story, you know. So
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about, man. I'm glad you can, you know what I'm saying, speak on it and let people know. You know what I mean? Just the fact of how things can happen with people in general, even family or just friends or just people,
Hmm.
or when you're doing something. You know what I mean? And how they might look at you differently. Like, did you feel that
Oh,
way when?
absolutely.
Did you know? What I mean, you done interviewed a couple of cats. When you interviewed Pac's brother,
Hmm.
Tupac's brother, did you feel like people started looking at you a little different when they seen you interviewing Pac's brother
Oh
or
man,
any
hell
other
yeah!
artist?
Like,
I mean, any other of your interviews?
oh, it was crazy because um that was like on some spontaneous stuff. Like I didn't even have that planned. He had just came out, I would say, broken silence last year. So when I saw him and I had no idea that we was going to get close and stuff like that, but I was just really intrigued, and I told myself like, man, he got to come on the show, and he's a real cool, down to earth brother. He just does his thing. He raps and he just out the public life or the private life and this and that. He just does his thing. But it was just one of those episodes where I felt like I've known him for years, man. And then after I did that, everywhere I went, everybody was just like rushing me. Was like, man, you did something remarkable, bro, and this and that. Like, man, I've been doing remarkable things for a long time. Y'all just don't fuck with me like that until I have somebody big. But you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It was just,
And,
but it
and
was
just
just
to
like
just so
cool.
just so they know, Pac brother, his dad's brother, Garland, his
Yeah,
son. So
William
they had
Garland Jr.
Pac had
Yeah,
the same dad. So
yeah,
they had
yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Yeah. So and you said well, you say they kind of said you're doing something remarkable, huh?
Yeah, and I was like, man, what the hell y'all been? I've been doing this remarkable things for ever, for a long time. It just people pick and choose when to give you your props, I guess. It's all about for show, the world's a stage and this and that. But I did that because that was the closest I was gonna ever get to interview Tupac Shakur. You gotta get to go to the next source, his bloodline, and people who haven't
I feel you.
heard of him. So, but just to
Mhm.
interview your favorite rapper's sibling or their brother or sister, man, they don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was a fan.
I feel you on that because we interviewed SKG and
Yeah.
she got a platinum 4-time platinum plaque with Tupac on the song she did with him. But I think he had died before it was released. But
Hmm.
just I feel you on that in a lot of ways. Like what other? Because I know you did a YouTuber too
Oh,
that had a pretty a good amount of people on there too. He was a kind of known YouTuber. You know what I mean? I forgot what his name was. My
oh,
bad. But
Scott on tape. Yeah, that's my boy, Scott
yeah,
on
yeah,
tape.
yeah, yeah.
Make sure y'all check him
Scott on
out,
tape.
man. Yeah, like he's a videographer. He does um like different locations, like film locations. He goes to celebrity graves, and he's a cool cat. Like just dope, man. He like that's my brother, man. He cool as hell. And I did Urban Mystic. He's coming back on the show. Um,
Hmm.
the rappers South Star from the group Smiles and South Star. Shout out to him.
Uh,
And I like the greatest thing I would say, well, the greatest interview that I had to me was Keith Beauchamp, the host of Investigation and Discovery. Um, and why I get to forget the show? Forget the show. The
I think,
Injustice Files. Yeah, the Injustice
yeah, I
Files.
think I know. Yeah, I think was he talking about was he talking about the Biggie and Pac case or
He was
it
talking.
was
Oh, you talking about John Potash? I had him too.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I remember that
yeah, but
too. Yeah.
yeah, but the house, but Keith Beauchamp, he was, he wrote and produced the new Emmett Till movie. So he's
Okay.
from pretty much in Hollywood. So that was
Yeah.
that was God, man. That wasn't me. I don't want to take credit for that, but I always wanted to meet him
Yeah.
and stuff. Watched the show for like a lot. I would watch the show, and just 10 years later, man, we was face to face talking, and I was just like so like my anxiety was on 100 that night.
You say anxiety.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because I,
I feel
cause
you.
you
I
know,
feel you.
cause you know how it is. Like, even because we're people, you know what I'm saying. But everybody just think that the nervousness or that shyness don't go away. But like I'm cool with just any and everybody, but certain people just gets me back to being that fan. Like, oh my gosh, like, can I sign your, can you sign my autograph and this and that? But But it was him. It was him because
I,
he.
I, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes it do work out like that. I do agree with you on that because I've been in the game for 20 years, and there ain't too many people that get me like that sometimes. But
Hmm.
it's some that I done interviewed to be like, damn man. Like I remember when I talked to Lil Flip and I let him
Hmm.
know about the what's the name, and he shook my hand. And then when I was like, he was asking me something, and I think I rambled. I don't even know. My brother said, "Bro, what are you talking about?" I say, "Bro, I was tripping, bro." I said, "That was my dog." I said, "My dog asked me about Saginaw, Michigan, and where I was born." I said, I just was like, I don't know, bro. I was like, just start talking about. I was going in depth to Saginaw, but I was starting to think like, you don't want to hear all this. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
understand when your anxiety, it's rare for me, but at certain times to be like, damn, dog. You know what I mean? I had to catch myself like, bro, chill out.
Yeah, that's how I am sometimes, man. But it's all good. It's natural, man. At the end of the day,
Yeah, it's
um,
natural.
I
But on top of that question, with Saginaw in general, with the things that you done did, what I done did, you know what I mean? Like
hmm.
as far as it's hard to say. I mean, because you want the city to accept you
Oh,
even
I couldn't
more
hear
or
you, bro.
push
Can
you
you repeat
more.
that?
Oh,
Oh,
I say because you want your
um,
city to. Let me see. What up, Scott Walker? He said, "Yo, what's up, fam? I see you, Scott Walker. Salute to you, bro." Yeah. What
I
you gonna say,
mean,
bro?
I'm at this point. I'm at this point now, bro. Is that I don't need Saginaw, but it would be cool. But I realized that I'm needed elsewhere. I needed other places besides my town. But at the end of the day, I feel like um, I will come back. I will always come back. I will always acknowledge where I came from and this and that. But I'm just at this point in my life where I got other things to do. I got places to go. I want to travel. I want to be able to speak at different schools and meet people, man, because it's a huge world out here. I just
Oh
didn't
yeah,
ever
yeah,
wanted
no
to
doubt.
just stay in Saginaw because Saginaw gonna be Saginaw, and I realized that because I had this fantasy in my head that if we bring people together and stuff like that, then we could take this over. But it's people who like to have um the 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 king or the queen, or they just don't see the bigger picture because they dumb down here. So,
Yeah,
but I'm good,
yeah,
as far as that. But
yeah.
I got fans all over the country in the world, man. And but as far as like support me more, I ain't worried about that. I'm alright. So
Yeah, Skywalker say, "Damn right, you don't need Saginaw. They hate the most." And he say all they do is sneak this and pocket
facts,
watch.
facts.
Sky, Skywalker ain't playing.
Man,
Oh, Mark,
he funny,
my
man. He
dog Mark
real, but
Diggs
that's
say,
real though.
Mark Diggs say crab in the bucket. Yeah, and is crazy that it's like that. And I had learned, like I said, I've been in the game for over 20 years, 2003, 2004. They can check the history on that. But I threw shows. I threw at least 3 or 4 shows, hosted shows. I threw a car show down on what was that? Genesee. And I had all the cars. I had Toyo. I had all the cars out there. A lot of other people came, and didn't ought to be nobody bring their kids. That kind of. I went to rent, and I did the same thing. This was like 2011 to 12. I ran it.
Hmm.
I was pissed, but you know what I'm saying. So I had to learn that way back 2013, 14. And then like I got cats from Texas inboxing me, New York inboxing me, Louisiana inboxing me. But I stay with a mentality I gotta reach out to my Saginaw people. So you know what I mean? So it stay in you, but at the same time you gotta feel like you gotta branch out. You gotta reach out because if you can get 5% one city, you got all these cities in the world, that's all you really need. You don't need 100% of Saginaw. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You don't need 100%. You don't need all the Saginaw rocking with you. And you show love to Saginaw. I got love for Saginaw always. That's one of my main branches of people that watch. But I
Hmm.
got Arkansas, Florida, Louisiana, Texas, you know what I'm saying, Missouri, people that rocking with me, and I'm not even posting any of their people, and they looking at Saginaw people. Now that's the thing that you be like, dang, I'm putting Saginaw, but I'm promoting people in Arkansas and Louisiana, places that they might not even go to promote themselves. But I'm making sure that they seeing them in the area. So I can
Hmm.
feel you as far as that. You just gotta stay with that mentality that you don't need all the Saginaw. If you get 5% of Saginaw, get 5% of Flint, 5% of Benton Harbor, 5% of Bay City, Lansing, 5%, and then you start going to Iowa, Indiana, get 5% of or 2% of everywhere, bro. You good.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's all you
and
gotta
that's
do. You know what I mean?
and like I said, man, that's the blueprint, man. Because um, I just help a lot of people. Just I encourage people to go after their dreams because
Yeah.
it takes courage to be able to put your face out there and just build yourself up, from the ground up. Because it's just like anything, like even in like the phones that we using. I'm got an iPhone. I don't know about you, but um,
Yeah, iPhone.
pe- pe- yeah. So people don't understand that Apple started in a garage. So don't matter
Yeah.
where you start. It's about the finished product and the results. And I was able to provide the finishing results, no matter what they say, no matter what they try to do to me. I already made history, you know, and I did everything that I set out to do. Would I want to do more? Yes, of course. But what I set out to do from jump was to help people because I helped a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. And the episodes that
Yeah.
I had, so I had a chick, man, Deja. She lost her daughter, and I was the first person that she talked to about that publicly. And she just had thanked me for that because I didn't have no hidden agendas. I had no interior motives. I really wanted to help, and I just try to
Uh,
talk to people because I didn't have anyone to talk to when I was going through my things like that. So
yeah.
I wanted to just have a free
So,
zone platform for all of us. So,
yeah,
but I just
that's
want to just
big, man. I would hope more people support you as far as that. I see you Skywalker. He say I'm the GOAT and they won't put me on their list. I see you, bro. No doubt.
yeah, yeah, he is.
He all super lyrical though. You know what I mean? I always check him out. Oh, Skywalker been doing this thing for a while. Skywalker was on the show. Y'all can check him out. Go to the podcast. Go to Amazon podcast. Any podcast. Go check out Skywalker's interview on there. You know what I mean? But the thing I would hope for in Saginaw is that kind of just 100 separate groups stop. You know what I mean? It ain't. It's part of the history. When we talk about history, that's part of the old
Hmm.
history, and it still go on today. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
one day they got to realize and they got to look at it. You know what I mean? Thawed magazine. I felt like Saginaw would push me and we would grow over them 20 years together, but it didn't
Hmm.
happen like that. But it wasn't nothing. I ain't mad. But I also was feeling like I started in 2003, 2004. Nobody was doing that.
Hmm.
So when
Hmm.
2011 and 2010 came about and Say Cheese or whenever all them, I don't say no names, but when I seen them kind of using like the blueprint of what I was doing, you don't
Hmm.
know where you're reaching, but you can see it. But cats got to realize in that markets, these small markets like Saginaw, is that when you see Say Cheese blew up, why did they blow up? Because all the artists was fucking with them. You know,
Hmm.
Mo3, Trap Boy Freddy, you know what I mean? Yella Beezy, all the Dallas artists was helping push Say Cheese. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Faux Show magazine, all the Detroit artists was helping push Faux Show. You know what I mean? If you got 1804 show and you got a 300 artists been on the show and they ain't all helping to push, that don't help nobody. You know what I
Right.
mean? That don't help nobody. That's what I think you was talking about before, as far as you put some people on the show and they didn't even post or promote about you. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how they go. I know how I done seen it, but I got a lot of artists that they posted, but they might, you know what I'm saying, might not continue to post it. But if they was in double XL, they would post it more. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So you got to
Yeah.
look at it. But it is what it is. But
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
understand that the more you push the 1804 show, and the more you push Thawed, or the more you push any other any other podcast, whatever podcast you're dealing with. You know, this ain't just about us too. You know what I mean? But whoever, if you continue to push them, that's how Say Cheese got strong. That's how
Mm-hmm.
$1 million worth of game got strong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When they say Dirk, everybody they be going to artists and they get to pushing and promoting and sharing that. They get millions of views. Why? Because the artist was promoting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Double XL will post it one time and they done because they know everybody else gonna post it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Cause
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
cause with me, I feel um you know later changed my thoughts because um I always give you your props. I always give Flick his props and everything.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I
But
always
I would
appreciate
say
you.
like, oh no, no problem, man. But I just like when I first started, it was nothing. It was like a deserted island. It was it was just like an empty vacant lot. And then when I started my show, everybody started to do it. You have people who used to be rappers, now they podcasters and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm not, what I'm saying, trying to hate or anything like that, but everybody knows this. Everybody knows that I'm telling the truth here. When I first started my show, there was no platforms in Saginaw like that. And it just kind of like, damn, like, you think you can rap and then come here? Like, it's not easy doing this. Like, you have to work. You have to put in the work. This ain't like, recording a song and this and that and just, getting back to it and this and that. This consistency, this is
Yeah.
grind. This is hard work and this and that. But it just, a whole lot of people won't give me my props because um, nobody is telling them to. And I don't need anybody to do no fake shit. I don't need anybody to fake fuck with me. If you fuck with me for what I stand for. Fuck with me because I'm putting our city on in a good light. I ain't
Mm-hmm.
putting our city in a bad light. And understand that um when my cousin Chuck Rogers died, I was cussing everybody out from TMZ, from CBS Sports,
Mm-hmm.
everybody who would rather talk about his past than what I'm saying, give him the proper respect. Like in me as a family member, that was hurtful.
And before you get too deep on that, maybe because you touched on that subject, let them
Uh huh.
know exactly what you're talking about. As far, let them know exactly what you're talking about. You talking about Charles Rogers, one of the legendary greats of Saginaw. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Tell them that's what you're basically speaking on. That was your cousin.
Yes.
Y'all had to explain. Tell them how that was your cousin. Y'all had the same. The daddy and mamas was uncles, uncle and aunt
Well,
or
both our
sisters,
fathers.
brother.
Both our fathers are brothers. My
Okay.
father is his father's older brother, right? So we grew up
Mm-hmm.
together and stuff like that. Um, I was too young to really understand his greatness and stuff like that because I saw him as Chuck, you know what I'm saying, as Benjamin because the family called him
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin.
He said Benjamin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we ain't call him Chuck or Charles like that. They call him Little Charles, but I called him Benjamin and stuff like that. So I was really young, just not understanding, the greatness in the family like that. And it was cool watching him go to the high and go to Michigan State and then get drafted to the Lions. But I never wanted anything from him. If anything, it was just love. I didn't take advantage of him and stuff like that. And he was a good dude. He helped out a lot of people. He bought a lot of people vehicles. He gave people money. He had to change his phone number so many times because people were just looking at him as an ATM. And I just think
Mm-hmm.
that him being drafted to the Lions was the worst thing ever because it was more
Too
like,
close.
yeah, too close, and people feel like they was entitled. They was entitled to his money, and they didn't look at him as a person anymore. And I don't
Right.
want to go out like that. And then what made me mad was this like the funeral, because the funeral it was so packed that we couldn't even sit with the rest of the family. We had to sit
Mm-hmm.
outside the fit the sanctuary, and I really wanted to um say something and this and that, but to me I kind of feel like it was more about the graduation class than the actual person. That's
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. To everybody
Yeah,
else,
I
may feel a
seen it.
certain type of way, but it just like, where was the scholarship when he was alive? When he was able to stand on stage and introduce it in his own voice and his own cadence. Where was this at? Like, you wait till he dies for him to have a scholarship? And that's what really had
Did
pissed
that?
me off, because News Five and
Did you
every
kind of?
other outlet took turns at just kicking him while he was down.
Yeah. Do you
And
feel like the city? I don't know. I don't know. Do you feel like the city made to let him down as far as that, even when he was
yes,
alive, being like the
yes,
highest drafted pick ever, probably the most
yes.
talented athlete out of Saginaw? You felt that way?
I think that the city used him while he was up, and then when they couldn't benefit from him, they chewed him up and spit him out. Because he
Mm.
said his last interview that he did with NBC 25 and stuff. Because I didn't see him in years um, until I saw him then, and that hurt because he was just always like a alpha male to me. Like,
Yeah.
to be a very
Y'all
skinny
was closer.
dude. Yeah, we was real
Y'all was
close.
closer when y'all was closer when y'all was younger. Now that it kind of as he kind of grew at his stardom, not as close.
No, no, we wasn't close after that. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't know how much pressure he was on until he did the interview with Jamel Hill on Sports Center. Um,
Yeah.
but it just really hurt me because he actually was the first to make it to that particular platform and that particular prestige. And Ray, you know what I'm saying? You kicking it with Ray Lewis, you in a Madden commercial, the first person in our family to be in a Madden commercial. And
Mm-hmm.
just to see him go from fall to grace, like that. And then um they just was celebrating his life and this and that. I'm like, if he would have had his pick, he would have not died at no 38. That's still young, man. My sister
Yeah.
outlived Chuck,
Yeah.
man. People I know outlived Chuck.
Mm.
So I feel like that the city really let him down as far as that, because they always give you your flowers when you're not able to smell
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And Saginaw ain't gonna
That
use me like
is
that. Saginaw ain't gonna do me like
yeah.
that, and I don't want them to give me my flowers when I get to where I need to go. Like, keep that same energy. Don't, or
Mm-hmm.
M Live, don't even do a story on me. Because
Yeah.
cause y'all didn't,
I've
y'all
been
didn't,
beefing with Mimla for a while.
yeah, yeah, don't do nothing on me, cause they was gonna do an article on me, bro. But they wanted me to change the name of my business because they said the name of my show was controversial, and I was like, oh, I'm
M
not
Live said
selling
that.
out. Yeah, the editor told me that. Boss or whatever he
I say
was,
shout out to Bob Johnson. That's the only one I mess with up there, Bob Johnson. But yeah,
yeah,
I,
and yeah, shout out to Bob, man. I mess with Bob too. But it just got to the point, bro. Like I wasn't going to just change my beliefs for a few press. You know what I'm saying? Because if anything, I got this tatted on my body. This is always gonna be a part of me. Just like Pac with Thug Life. This is always gonna be a part of me because I embody 1804. Because every time I have to face anything as far as like de- detrimental and stuff like that, like I look at my arm and be like, yeah, I got the ancestors and stuff like that. Like, let's go, let's get it, you know. And
Yeah.
and like I said, man, um, my personal life is fucked up, bro. Just to be a young man
Mm.
out here that gotta build something because we don't get no inheritance like that. So we have to build our own thing. You know, we gotta build our own family crest because you know you have a family, you got kids and this and that. I know you will like for one of your kids to run Thawed magazine if something happened to you.
Oh yeah,
So you prepping. You
that was
said
one of
what?
my main motivations. That was one of my main motivations. It still is. You know what I mean? That one day, because I thought magazine is like the header, but it's actually my business is called Thawed Media and Capital LLC. Thawed magazine is just a fictitious name,
Okay,
the DBA of it. So you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely
okay,
understand that. That's why I try to create a branch. I try to create a branch of other businesses uh, under Thought Media and Capital, just so one day, you know what I mean, I could be, if I know it's it, I could pass them all the passwords, and hopefully they do what they do with it. So I feel
yeah,
you on that.
yeah. So we, you know, us as black men, bro, we have to create something from the ground up because, like I said, there's no inheritance, there's no family crest, there's none of that. You know, the stuff that means something, we have to build it from our, you know, for our future seeds and this and that. You know, I don't have no children one day. Hopefully, I will, but I didn't want to bring kids into the world with um the statistics, you know, that falls into play with like child support, EBT, Medicaid, uh, government assistance, this and that. I
Yeah,
wanted to just make sure that I was financially set, that I was mentally set, I was emotionally set, because I
yeah.
didn't
Keep
have
on. You
anybody.
got it, bro.
Yeah,
Keep
thank
on.
you,
You got
man.
it, bro.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
Shout out to
bro.
Rolly too.
Yeah, hey y'all, check out the interview we did, man. That dude be having some knowledge, man. That dude make you think, boy.
Yeah, yeah.
But if
That's my guy.
anything,
Yeah,
bro, like um, everybody would ask me like, why you don't have kids yet, and this and that, and I'm like, I don't know how to be a dad. Like, I don't want to be a baby daddy. I want to be a father, you know. And that's why I waited. You know what I'm saying? I'm still waiting. You know, and I just want to be able
don't wait,
to.
bro. Do your thing, bro. That's all I tell you. Some things happen. You know what I mean? They just happen. You know what I mean? I had my
Oh,
first child.
absolutely.
I was 25, so you know what I mean? It ain't no book on parenting. That's the one thing. You know what I mean? But for me, my teaching came from my pops.
Mhm.
My pops was a street cat,
Mhm.
straight street cat. You know what I mean? Everybody in the streets know him from the Burt to the Kurt. My dad name nickname in the streets was Bad News. Anybody can
Mhm.
look that up. Bad News. Bad news. He come around as bad news. So when I grew up, of course, at first I wanted to be, but then I was like, man, I want to be good news. And so when I was little, it kind of adjusted. So when I would see him do stuff, I kind of, so you know, and with my kids, I kind of do the opposite. You know,
Mhm.
it ain't no one way to learn. You got to look at so many things to learn. Like my daddy helped me with that. My dad, I love my dad. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I know how the streets was the streets. You love the streets, and he
Mhm.
know that. You know what I mean? But I got connections to the streets since I was little. But that don't mean I was a street cat. You know what I mean? I was around the streets, bar as a kid, Chet's Bar. I can name Chet's Bar. All they already know the cat stuff like that. Took my first sip of beer before I even can still remember. I can't even remember when, but they talk about it. They know, you know what I'm saying. So you grew up in that, but that might help or influence how you parent. You feel me? So some of the good
Mhm.
things you've been through or some of the bad things, it might help you become a good parent. You know what I mean? So you can't be just you can't always just force it. You just got to put it in your heart that I'm gonna take care of, or maybe look at somebody that didn't and say I ain't gonna do that. Or don't just what I'm saying it's kind of different, but you got to always think about it because of how you know about history and how you speak on it and how
Hmm.
we breaking generational curses. So you want to
Yes,
start with
sir.
that. You want to start. You know what I mean? You want to raise your kid to break some of them. I used to say the GM fathers because a lot of us was raised under the GM cats. The GM cats was like a street gang they damn self. And I can tell you about like I can go back to I ain't mention the names, but I know the GM cats. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They was like a gang they self. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And sometimes you might meet your brother and don't really know that's your brother.
Hmm.
I can tell you, I definitely got parts of the Saginaw streets. So the thing is, when I raised my son, like my son in college now, and I try to teach him, how to be this, that, that, and maybe he can go farther than I did. You
Hmm.
feel me? So that's what you just got to look at. You got
Yep.
to just think about the things you done. You got to remember history, and when you look at your kid and you see him as you feel me, to make sure that he good. That's all you can do. Or your daughter. You know what I'm saying? When your daughter, if you see your daughter, you see it as, man, you ain't gonna mess my daughter over. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
so,
sure. I'm
so
like that with
yeah.
my. I'm like that with my nieces. My nieces were like my daughters. My sister, well, shout out to my sister Allie. She wanted me to shout her out and everything. But I do this
That's what's
show.
up.
But I do the show for all of us, man. Because like I look at it like we didn't have really real male positive role models in our families and stuff like that. Because I come from alcoholism, I come from drug abuse, I come from just a little bit of everything that's bad. But we didn't have anybody like that who was a alpha or who was a standout guy, except my grandfather and stuff like that. Because my grandfather ran Brown Fish Market on James and Perkins and stuff. And
Okay, okay. Yeah.
but I used to work with him when I was a kid. He died when I was 11, so I didn't really have much time to spend with my grandfather because I was a little kid at the time. But I was just really respected him. I looked up to him and stuff, and he been dead for practically over 20 years. But he came into my one of my dreams recently, and it was crazy because I never saw him young, but he walked into my crib and he was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, man. You doing your thing and stuff like that." I'm like, just bugged out. Because when you talk about these type of things, people think you're crazy and this and that. But I believe in ghosts, man. I believe in spirits, bro. I believe that our guardian angels are closer than we think. And it's just all about people's perceptions and stuff like that, and whatever you think, your thought process. But I think that everybody isn't resting in peace, and everybody isn't in heaven. It's just a lot of
You
people
trying
are
to take it
keeping
on? You
guard.
trying to go another hour, bro? Trying to go another
Yeah,
hour?
I'm just saying,
You
man.
done went to another deep conversation.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm just
Hey,
I'm just
let
like think
me,
like that, bro. But I just always had this way of just making sure that I change my thought process, man, because I don't want to think the same. Because if you think the same, you go get the same. So I always wanted to be open minded and just make sure that I stay on the right track. I can't control anybody but myself, and just want to be able to pass the torch down to just anybody, man. Just whoever want to do something, because you gotta make the best out of your life, regardless of what's going on and this and that. I feel like everything that happened to me needed to happen to me in order for me to have more material and stuff like that. I never run
oh
out of
yeah, yeah.
material because I have experienced so much
Oh,
at a young age.
I feel you on the same thing. I feel you. Let me see. I'm gonna read a couple comments too. Let me see.
Okay.
I want to leave my guys out. I see Rolly. Rolly said I had my first kid at 17. Mark Diggs said, "Damn right." When we were talking on that other earlier, I want to highlight that one too. Rolly, you got the VP in the building. He said, "How many other stars in Saginaw did what Chuck did? I'll wait. I got all night." No doubt. Like I
Facts.
said, like I said, it ain't about the money. It's about just giving people hope. Real talk. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
We can go further back because I love that comment. I love that comment. You know what I mean, just in all in general, because it mean a lot. Because back in the days, I don't my age back in the '90s, early '90s, mid '90s. Our hope was to get to them levels, but our biggest
Mm-hmm.
like vision of being able to see it was a guy. If I don't say his name wrong, but Terry McDaniel. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? He was Tennessee out of Saginaw. He had his picture. They had his picture in Saginaw High Walls. When you walk through, you always see him. But he was like the only like professional we had a vision of. You feel me? And he ended up playing with the Oakland Raiders. I
Mm-hmm.
think he was like the highest. He was the highest draft pick at that time. I think he was like number 7 as a cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hope. We see him, we hoped. And I was part of that like '94 class. I think Woodley them came in '98. 97, 98.
Okay.
Rogers and all them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 90, I had a little connection to that because 94, we was totally down bad in Saginaw High. It was totally down bad. We didn't have a JV squad. Coach Jenick had just quit. Well, he went to, I don't know what, I think he went to college. He went to coaching in college, and it was Coach Durrett first year. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And we all was like, man, what the hell? We ain't know Coach Durrett like that. Nobody know Coach Durrett like he is now. So
Yeah.
my 10th grade year, I ended up playing for the high. Mike Patrick, Button, there was quite a few of us. And I think by the time we got to the 12th grade, I remember we played Flint Northern, Mateen Cleaves and Robert and all of them. We played them. And that was in
Mm-hmm.
'94. But they had started freshmen then. That was the class of '98. The high had went to having ninth graders. And the
Mm-hmm.
freshmen was whooping everybody. That was the class. We didn't know them cats like we didn't know that they would become who they was and that and that. But that was the beginning of the high. And I talked to Lamar Woodley one time about that. We was sitting in the I think at the car. He was buying a car. And I think we
Mm-hmm.
had Butterfield or something. It was something. We talked about the whole history of how they became who they became.
Mm-hmm.
Coach DeRay and how he got it going. And
Yeah.
then you start seeing the cats like Terry Jackson, Lamar Woodley, Charles Rogers, and you start seeing them coming up. And Coach Thomas, the basketball team, it started when they brought the ninth graders to the high. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people didn't like that at that time because it was like a symbol of now the Centrals, the Eddies, the Webbers, they are gonna be weakened. You know what I mean? And of course we seen the effect of that with schools getting closed.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So it was a plus and a minus because I went to Art Eddie my 7th grade year, so I seen how that was because they closed the next year. So you
Right.
see, so Saginaw was blessed when the ninth graders went to the high. You seen all the greats come out of it like Woodley them. But
Mm-hmm.
again, that's when you seen all the schools getting ready to close too, the middle schools.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not, well, the junior highs. You feel me? So it was a blessing and a curse. Like you
Yeah.
said, it was the hope part when you see Darvin Ham, or you see, you know what I mean? Who else was it? You had Chuck, you had Lamar, you had Anthony Roberson, you had Marquez Wetlow, my guy Jeremiah McLaurin. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You had a lot of cats giving hope to the young kids. So that meant a lot. So that comment I definitely respect. I mean, that's real, Rody, because it is about hope. Only thing I hate now is that kids now don't really I don't know what is going on with it. With the combination of the schools, it's called United now, and you see the
Yeah.
records. The records are bad. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, what a hope at?
Yeah. And and my thing is, man, I'm just really just trying to give back, but you gotta have resources, you gotta have connections, you definitely got to have the money to do those type of things.
yeah,
So what
yeah.
let me get there and stuff like that to certain people who kind of feel like I was capping and all that stuff, man. I just have to get to the money, gotta get to the sources first. But I just want to be able to, give basketball tournaments,
Gotta
give
have
away
that bread.
turkeys, and it's just gotta be realistic, with your goals and with your aspirations. And everybody isn't um there like that, and it just also I wanted to talk about and share, bro, is that um, we built this country. We made this country what it is today. Like we fought in every war, and we fought in every war that this country had. And we
Mm.
get the scraps, and I feel like if we all just, stop attacking each other, stop with this
For
hate,
sure, Rolly.
stop with this animosity and all that, we will be good. We will be straight. Because strength in
Hmm.
numbers means everything, I believe,
Yeah,
but that's just,
yeah.
it's gonna take a minute, because once you really stand for something, you ain't gonna have um a parade, you ain't gonna have a rally and stuff like that behind you or support like that. But if anything, I just wanna just um let people be aware of how powerful we are as a people because there was so many Black Wall Streets, man. And I think that people don't understand that, or people scared to do it again because they're gonna destroy it again because they destroyed them. They didn't go away.
Mm.
We just have to organize. We just have to
Oh yeah,
build.
yeah.
We just have to regroup a little bit and figure out how to do it. You know what I'm saying? The real revolution shall not be televised. And that man is the revolution in your mind. Because once you change your mind,
And
you
that
change everything.
and that's one thing we talking about. Cause I remember when you a lot of times I used to I hit you up or you hit me up in the inbox, and I remember you did one on the hidden. I think I forgot how it went. I was telling you about the hidden cities that they built other cities on top of our slaves or ancestors'
Oh yeah,
graves.
yeah,
You know
like
what I mean? From
Lanier and
when
all
you
that. Yup, yup.
yeah, yeah, you know what I mean? So little
Hmm.
stuff like that. Like we keep that's why we can talk on that level. I respect what you do. You know what I mean? I It's a lot to us, and I got a lot of I used to break down lit. I break down how the street, the culture. I can do that, but I usually don't do it on shows or nothing like that. So I respect how you do that. You know what I mean? And you don't do it from you do it from your point of view. I mean, and that's why we
Hmm.
connected because sometimes I used to do it from a street point of view as far as like I can tell you how it was like when we was talking before and we talking about the spook hunters and people don't understand when you talking about gangs and all of that now we adapted to them. We became what they were first.
Hmm.
So when you got gangs and you got the street culture, that's because of what they was doing. We took it from them, and then we became stronger with it, and they stopped.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because when the spook hunters was out there, they was using the police to help them. The Klan, them was gangs. They was suppressing our people. We just can't
yeah,
have our own gangs suppressing our own people. You feel me? Because then we
exactly.
doing exactly what they was doing. So that's
Yeah.
we used to be on that level and we kicking it on that tip. So I had to back up, bro. Cause we gonna be 3 hours in this show, bro.
Oh yeah,
We gotta
yeah. I'm
chop.
with it. I'm with it. I'm with it, man. Because I need to hear this stuff, man. They need to know that it's a it's a war. You know what I'm saying? It's very spiritual.
It's
It's
messed up, but it's
spiritual.
been you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. And I cause my beliefs it's been a battle ongoing since the beginning of the time because like they say it came from one person in Africa.
Hmm.
I don't think that in a way. And that's you can look at Neanderthal blood or genes, and you can look at Homo sapiens or however it go. But it's two separate. I think they've been battling since the beginning. And even when they meshed together and grew and all of these other people all over the world, it's still been that battle of them two. Them two that's originally so but it go back to mindsets. Everybody had their own thoughts, but it's been a battle. And and I think before I was talking to somebody about it is we thought because we was in slavery that was the worst slavery. It was. Chantel slavery was the worst effect of slavery. But it
Hmm.
was other slaveries too before this. Barbary slave trade. You can look at all these slave trades that led to this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And these are the battles. These are the battles. The African and the European and however you want to say it. It's been slavery battles. We got the hard end of the stick and we fighting out of so much of what history led to. All of these things that led to that we don't even know about, that we didn't know about what happened, and we fighting out and breaking curses. because of stuff that happened so far ago. We don't even know how far ago, but it's been a battle of power. You know what I mean? And if money mean power, you don't had a lot of devilish, trickish things done to get that power to be able to suppress people. So that's it's a lot of it's a lot to it, bro. Like I said, that'd be a long show, bro. We gotta chill.
All right, right on. But I will say for the ones who don't know that we was already here. You know what I'm saying? And America consists consists of North and South America, but America was and is bigger than Africa. It starts from the top of the map to the bottom of the map. If you really like pay attention to it, it's connected. It's no separation. That's what the people who created the maps want you to think, but it's all connected, and everybody come over here
Yeah, it
because
was
they
all one.
know. You know what I'm saying? They know. Yeah, we all won, but it just comes to time that why our race was reclassified so many times. They was calling us Indian 1492, and then they was calling us Negro, called us slave, they called us colored, they called us Afro American, they called us black, they call us African
Man,
American. And now they
that's true.
they don't understand that. So why
But
everybody
but you
else
know what?
isn't
I gotta. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I got into it with a cat. I don't get into it, but I be going on other pages. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I be having my brand on there. I be like, man, I ain't gonna argue with anybody. But I had to tell a cat, and I went down and I broke it down to him about it. He thought he was a white guy. He cool dude. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
it was a couple black dudes too. They didn't understand it. But they went and did the research of what I was talking about, and they stopped bringing that yaya to me after that. But I had to tell him because he hit me in the inbox and showed me a map. I said, bro,
Hmm.
go back to them times. They wasn't creating maps like that, bro. They
No,
didn't they didn't break it down maps like that. They didn't Africa as a term of a word wasn't even broke down like that. I had to
no.
break it down to him that Middle Eastern was a war term. You know what I mean? When you say Middle Eastern people in Middle East, that was a war term. I had to break it
Yeah.
down to him, and now you stumbling over your words. You stop, then stop. Go do your research again, bro, before you
Hmm.
come at me. And they don't understand when I do a magazine, I do so much research on everything, stock, business, or history, everything. I might not talk about it or say it as much, but when I'm prepared in a debate, you always be ready. So when the dude hit me up
Crazy.
with a map, you know what I mean. So when he hit me up with a map to try to explain this was where I said, bro, that map it was created by somebody later on in time, but the people in them times didn't
Hmm.
even know where they was actually at. That's why they was traveling. That's why they was trying to see and land on. They didn't know about no map like that. Like the map, people think Africa is where it's at. Map Africa was way bigger. These wars and religious wars mainly is what shaped these maps.
Hmm.
You feel me? So when they break down how to map, this is how, no, that wasn't how it was in BC. They didn't have these certain. They didn't have Salt Lake City. You know what I mean? They try to make it look like this is the map of today. No, it was not the map of today back then.
No, of course not. And we just need to, you know, I would say that we all need to
Shout out there.
just get out of this indoctrination, man, that these public schools taught us, bro. Like these public schools, I mean, they ain't mean no harm. They were just teaching what was in the book, but
Oh, they
it's
meant harm,
more.
bro. They meant harm.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. but but it's just like when it comes,
Well,
but it's just
I feel you
but
on
it's
that.
just like
I feel you on that.
I tell like my mom and stuff like that because my mom she just be so shocked that I know all this stuff and I'm young, I'm her son and stuff like that. And she was like, "How you know all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Because like I find all this stuff out on social media. I changed my algorithm up so many times because usually I wanted to just know more about these type of things. So you got to manipulate your algorithm, like whatever algorithm you got to manipulate it to the point that you have it the way you like it. But I learned so much off social media than I ever did in school. And
It's a lot to
I
learn
tell
on
people
social
when,
media, though.
yeah, Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
also I got so many books. It's crazy. Um every
But I don't
mostly
mean to
like
cut you
every
off. I'm gonna say I don't mean to cut you off, bro. I'm gonna say Mark Diggs. Mark Diggs said definitely meant harm, no doubt. And what were you talking about when he said that? I understood what he was saying. Like, if you're a teacher right now and you teaching the course, you really don't mean no harm. But
hmm
so far back, they did.
yeah,
And when you
of course.
start, they did. So when you, and it's kind of crazy because like when you become part of something, become part of something and do what was done in what's going on, but don't
hmm
know how it was built or what it was built on. Like I like stock market. I love the stock market, and
hmm
I try to win on the stock market. I do this, but if you know the history of the stock market, you know where it originated from.
Yeah, from us
So you,
being sold,
yeah,
you know.
exactly. So you look at it and be like, oh, it don't mean no harm right now because I'm making money on the stock market. But you know the history of you kind of like, yeah, they meant harm in the back. They definitely meant harm. Even though right now we're trying to use it to make money to be able to prosper and do this, you gotta remember what it was originally they was originally doing. And same with the
hmm
school system. They was originally teaching that knowledge to make you not feel like you got knowledge. And when you take these tests, a lot of people was failing or whatever, or getting held back. And you had to. It's hard to say, but like I say, most of us not assimilated to ways almost, or
hmm
American ways. You feel me?
Yeah,
So when we
yeah.
doing like we grew up in the streets, or we doing things in the streets, and we doing this and we doing that, bro. Go back to 1800s when the New York the who was the streets. You go back to the
hmm
Boston Tea Party. I still tell them the Boston Tea Parties was the definition of the streets. They didn't like getting taxed on their tea.
hmm Yeah.
They wanted their
Something
tea.
so
Hey, don't
small,
tax me. This is
something so small and petty ended up like that. So ended up in
and they was
bloodshed,
fighting for
bro.
their freedom.
Yeah.
The
It
definition of the
be
streets. They didn't like the government. They didn't like the British government doing what they doing to them. They wanted to do their own thing. Leave us alone. So that was the definition of the streets, and how we now get to the point where hey we just, so when you a lot of people say, oh, why he break the laws like that, well, because really it didn't feel like that law felt that it applied to, because if we was in natural lands and habitats, I mean, hey, bro, we going too deep, bro.
no, it's good, bro. No, but my thing is that my thing is that it just got bad with integration because when we were segregated, bro, we was property owners. We had land. We had trades. We was able to do things and stuff like that, and we was together.
Yeah,
We helped each other. Because we had nobody but each other. But it just a lot of these kids nowadays they think everything is a birthright. Like we have to fight for this. We had people that died. For
mm.
us to be able to eat at Applebee's at a and be able to sit at anywhere in a bus or sit anywhere on a plane, train, all that stuff. So that's why I do like my segments on civil rights leaders because I just
It's
anybody
big.
because I feel like it's
It's
important.
big.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's important to keep their legacy alive, man. Because if something happened to me, I would want somebody to tell what happened to me. So
But
it's a
you
fair
know the crazy
exchange.
thing about it. You know the crazy thing about it. It ain't that far. It wasn't that far away.
No, hell no. That's like 55, 56 years ago.
It ain't
You
that far away.
know,
I talked to a cat at work, and we got to talking about something about, because I'm in Arkansas, so it was real bad down there. And
hmm
he was talking about how when him and his sister went to the restaurant, they all was spitting on him, and really, and the crazy thing about it though, this is what used to piss me off mentally, right? Is how
hmm
like the average cat or the average person that thought they was in the suppression game thought they was the ones that was bad or tough. No, it wasn't the fact that you could spit on one of our ancestors. It was the fact that they knew if they whooped your but the police was coming. And it wasn't finna come for you doing the stupid stuff. They was gonna come because of my guy our skin. So you can be spit on, react, and beat and whoop on a cat, and they gonna come get you for getting spit on. So they felt like I got the power because no, you had the power because of the government, because of the police, because all the things that could jump in for you to be able to do that, what you doing. So it's crazy, but it's a lot of people recognize that. You can go on TikTok or you can go on this, and a lot of people are ashamed of the past, of they past, or not. You know, I say white people or so that they're ashamed of the things that was done. So,
Mhm.
like I say, they realize it ain't been that far. You can talk to somebody that's 50, 60, 70 years old, and they can tell you probably vividly. You know what I mean? Like I went through it, so it wasn't that far away.
Of course not. And then just when you sit back and realize, the new um racism is social media. It's like when you look at these shade rooms, the neighborhood talk, or Hollywood Unlock,
You say shade
and
room?
yeah, when you see the shade room and they upload a black celebrity, and you see your own people commenting, talking about, oh, they need to be canceled, or oh, I don't care about that, and this and that. You just see the comments, and it reminds you of a lynching being taking place, because lynchings were horrible. Lynchings brought out thousands and thousands of people so they can watch a black man die. And
Mm.
these things were just barbaric. How they would cut off people's ears, cut off people's fingers,
You
toes,
you know who
to
you know who run
castrate
the
them.
shade room? You know who run shade
Black people,
room?
right? I don't know
Nigerian.
their names, but I know it's on black owned. I know it's black
It's
owned.
some yeah. It's some it's ladies, Nigerian ladies.
Yeah, that makes sense,
Yeah,
because when it comes
yeah.
to uh, when it comes to us, we have nobody standing up for us. Anybody and everybody can disrespect us, but we don't stand up for each other. We don't stick by each other. And we will help you destroy another black person. That's how messed up
Mm.
we are. But I'm not saying us as a collective, or I'm just saying like it just be like that on a daily basis, because um everybody else is protected. Like we know the criminals, we know the, their counterparts and stuff like that. They won't throw their own under the bus. They protect them, and but us, man, we have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a lynching, public lynching. So, but my thing is like I wasn't always this determined. I wasn't always this professional. Shit, I wasn't always Dollar Will. I did a lot of foul, fucked up shit as William Brown. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not that person anymore. But it's like your past will get you locked up, or your past will get you vilified. But my thing is like we all have a past, but now all of us have a
Yeah.
future. You know what I'm saying? And my future is greater than my past, but I'm not no actor. I'm not no agent like most people is around this
Mhm.
mother want to be
You
agents.
silly.
But
Shout
I'm
out to
just a
Daryl
man.
Austin too, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to him. But my thing is, I'm just trying to make a difference, man, and just trying to, build a brand, build a legacy, and just teach. I don't need no diploma or no damn degree to be educated. I self educated myself, but I just want to be able to just motivate and inspire somebody else who can come after me and finish what I left off and start their own thing and be able to just impact the world, bro. Because we ain't got a lot of thinkers. We ain't got a lot of people who think for themselves. It's a lot of people who want to follow the crowd, and even adults, man, even people in their 30s or 40s are followers, bro. So I never been a follower. I always been a leader. I
Mhm.
always thought for myself. I always stood up for myself, and when it was necessary, defend myself. But if
Yeah.
anything, I'm a real person. I have bills like everybody else,
Yeah.
go through injustices, but I still smile. I still can be able to joke. I'm goofy, I'm silly. I'm not this person that people um see on the book. Like I'm way more dimensional than what people think. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I watch comic books, movies, and I read comic books and watch wrestling. I'm just a regular person, but it just
Yeah.
people will perceive you as this whatever, But I hate being called nigga. I hate being called a
Mhm.
nigga because I'm not a nigga. I only get along with niggas. Niggas like, man, what the hell he think he is? He think he better than us? I got picked on for reading a book all the time on the bus. So like, oh, you think you white and this and that, and oh, you think you a white boy? And this. I'm like, oh, because I use proper English, I'm a
Mhm.
white boy. Like, what the fuck is y'all talking about? Like, maybe because I like to pronounce my words correctly, but other than that, bro,
Yeah.
I'm just a
That
regular
that
man, bro.
that whole thing, what you was just speaking, I'm gonna jump in on that because it's kind of crazy. It, I don't know. You been in the South much? Have you ever been to the South?
Yeah, yeah. I lived in St. Louis. And I would say St. Louis the South because they act like the South, but
It
but continue.
ain't. It's like mid. It's like Midwest, but it's in, yeah, in that level. Uh, but if you go deep South,
Hmm.
it's kind of weird. Like when I first moved here, right? Let me tell you a story about it. It was crazy. I was working. I was at Walmart.
Hmm.
I was at Walmart. I went on break. I was sitting there because that was one of the only jobs gave me a job when I got down there. So I went
Yeah.
there, and I'm sitting there and I'm smoking my Black and Mild. And all the guys
Hmm.
around me left. I'm just sitting there smoking my Black and Mild. And the white man come to me and he sit there. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "What's up? You doing all right?" Yeah. He said, "Man, these motherfucking Yankees." I'm sitting there and he railing off on, he's railing off, and I'm thinking about who he talking about. He keeps saying them Yankees
Hmm.
and Yankees this, Yankees that, and he talking about. And I'm sitting there like I ain't thinking about. I am in my mind. I'm like I ain't gonna go ahead and tell him I'm from Michigan. Well, I came here from
Right.
Michigan because that's who he railing against. So
Hmm.
to understand them dynamics is what I'm saying is how they feel. Like they feel a certain way about their proper language in the South. Like I could be talking down here, and white guy be like, "You ain't from here, huh?" You know what I mean? Or a black guy say, "You ain't from around here, huh?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I've been in Michigan." Oh, okay. And they all the perception change of you. It don't matter, white or black. You know what I mean? That's why I say it's a mentality sometimes. It'd be like you talk proper English. What they want the South, they want to talk more slur. You know what I mean? White and black. And when they see you talking straight proper, or not proper, but pronouncing your words more, you're Yankee, or
That's funny.
black or white.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's so many crazy ways that the whole world or everything is so divided. Like you ask cat, they say, "Hey, how can we bring all this together?" And be like, "It's so divided. How can you?" Because it's divided so many different ways from block cities, states. You know what I'm saying? Teams, white, black mentality. You know what I mean? It's so many. Yeah. Mark Diggs said my grandma used to call them Yankees. Yeah, they still do, bro. They still do. They still do, and it's wild when I first hear it because I'm just got here I'm Michigan. I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, yeah. It's like, okay. I'm like, but they look at it, the way you talk is kind of how they feel you came from, or what you kind of think or represent. So it go on what you were saying about that because it's like people pay attention so much to how you talk and what you say, and they try to picture or they try
Hmm.
to look and try to visualize, or they might try to guess where you from, or guess who your family is. I had a guy, I still don't know who the man was. He looked at me in the store. I ain't seen him since. One time in my life, seen him. He was like, "Your grandma is so and so." I looked. I said, "Now, how you know that? I don't know how you got that talent, but
That's funny. That's funny. I get that too. I get
but
that
that
too with my granddad.
but if you recognize it, see, I did. I same way you do. Do I do so much history, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, especially with black folk, is that's how they would find out who they was kin to after the slavery or from escaping or be able to connect with their family that's been separated from so long ago. They would be able to try to look at you or your cheekbones and try to see if you know they good reading you. You know what I mean? And to
Mm-hmm.
try to piece together where you might have came from.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark
And
Diggs
that's
say my grandma, his grandma from Mississippi. Yeah, no doubt. Oh yeah, to
yeah.
Daryl
And
Austin too. He said, shout out to William Brown, man. Your show is very impactful.
oh man, thank you, bro, man. I appreciate you, man. We gotta come back and do your own part two, man. Like, whew, man, bro. Like it's just crazy because like I always hated my name because I used to be called Will and shit on the block and shit. You know what I'm saying? But
He's called what?
Will, I hated
Will.
that shit, but
Okay.
it was cool.
Yeah.
But it was cool though. You know that was I was just like in my younger days, man. Growing up on Harris and Weber, it was cool. It was like it was actually like a close knit neighborhood. Like as far as everybody knew each other, we all stuck together and stuff like that. We only had like one shooting that cost the life of my friend's mother and stuff like that, but it was so cool, bro. Like just going back um to that. I found out recently that I was named. Well, I have the same name as the lynching victim of Omaha, Nebraska, back in 1919. I
Mm.
have the same exact name, and
Yeah.
that really like scared me. You know, I ain't gonna say scared me, but it was more like dang, and
Mm.
it just it was just like one of those like okay, I don't hate it no more. You know, I gotta represent for him, because he went down so bad, and his actually his dead body is all over civil rights museums right now, where like a group of
Mm.
white men took a picture while his dead corpse was on the ground and stuff like that because they lynched him and
Yeah.
they shot him up 100 times and then they burned his body. So that let me
Mm.
know like I gotta take our name and and just amplify it, like just go crazy nowadays because I got to make
Yeah.
sure that he's remembered it. Because one thing about me is that I always just try to make sure that I do what I do big and stuff, and I always make sure that I get things done. Because I ain't no talker, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. So
For
this
sure.
year is really
It, it,
this. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, oh no, I was gonna ask you. What I mean, being a proponent, same way as me, as far as history. Do you do you think or do you have a feeling of how it affects you of knowing so much of especially the bad history? Do you feel like it kind of like gets in you sometimes and be like ah
Oh, I think because I know history is it's kind of like stop certain friendships for me because I don't like coonery. You know, I don't like that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If anything, um, because I know not to get too close to people because behind every great leader, it was a black person that took them down. It was a informant,
but
or it was
yeah but I no what I'm saying like when you just broke down about your name. Sometimes when you read about the things that happen, do it sometimes every time you kind of read a little more, you learn a little more, or learn about the history or how people was done. Do it sometimes it affect you and make you kind of feel like you got to protect your mental health sometimes, or just protect yourself because it's getting you kind of like kind of like man, what the hell, or you just kind of like why did they do this, or do you feel
oh
like what I'm saying you
okay,
got to
yeah.
protect your mental health a little more?
um when it comes down to the history stuff, yes, it's a lot to absorb. It's a lot to take in because these was regular people. These wasn't well, everybody did march with Dr. King and this and that, but they played an important part because of what happened to them. So yes, it really does affect me because anybody with a heart or anybody with empathy or compassion will be saddened. And a lot of times when I did those episodes, I couldn't really read correctly because of what happened and knowing um what was their outcomes. It was tough. But yeah, I take like at least a couple days to myself to recharge because it hits like a truck, it hits you like a ton of bricks sometimes. But I have a job to
Mm-hmm.
do, so I got to put my personal feelings aside and do a job. This is my job. This is my grind, bro. And I feel as if somebody got to do it. But yeah, it takes a lot of my mental. That's why I make sure that I take a couple of days off and then get back to it.
Mm-hmm. No doubt,
Hmm.
no doubt. I respect that, my brother. We gonna get on up off of here, man. We can talk. We can go. Like I say, creative, just like me, and we love to create. We can talk about so many things: history, business, music, you name it. I feel like Will can talk it same way I can. So we about to hit 2 hours, and I think if we could have kept going, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate you. You
Oh
know what
yeah,
I mean? Because
man.
there's so many things
Please.
we can touch on.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Please, man. Bring me back, man. I like I said, I could do this for hours, man. But I know that you got a time schedule, but it's all good, man. I enjoyed myself. It was
We
a
passed the
pleasure.
time schedule. We've been just chilling.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like I said, I'm born to do this, man. This is me, bro. I just love talking. I just love to allow people to see me in a different light besides my show. Just to be able to collaborate with other Black people, man, and all of us all on the same page. Helping each other and encouraging one another, and we need more of that. So it's good to just
Yeah.
start off with two Black men that we ain't cussing, we ain't arguing, we ain't fighting, we ain't making no death threats and nothing like that. We respect each other. And so I will
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
have love and respect for you, man. But yeah, man, like let me
Oh yeah.
know whenever I come back.
No doubt, no doubt. And on that tip, I respect what you do, my brother. In the same way, I think we do get a bad rep on that because if you it depend on what media you listen to. But if you listen to some other media, then yeah, you're gonna get that. But if you listen to 1804 and you listen to Thawed, then you probably ain't gonna feel the same way that you feeling because you listening to this other media that doesn't describe black people a certain
Hmm.
way. Because I know plenty of black people. I know how the streets go. I know a lot of the deaths, and they painted as black on black, and I know how it go. They usually over some street stuff or some girl. I know how it go, but they gonna paint their skin versus skin, and it's a lot of
Hmm.
times I might be in a place and you just see and you can look at somebody and you go in there and you be like, "What's up?" They be like, "What's up?" Okay, you know what I mean. And then sometimes you can look at another black person, you say, "What's up?" And if he with his girl, he might look at you like, "Damn, dog." But it probably ain't because we both black. They gonna paint it like we both mad at each other because we both black. Nah, it don't really work like that. But that's how they paint it. So they try to get more people to be black on black to be mad at each other. When I know for a fact, a lot of times you can see a person and be like, "What's up?" And he might not like what color you got on. He might not like your girl. He don't like that you talk to his girl. It's always something that was in there. So I just
Yeah,
wanted to say that on that
absolutely.
because a lot of people just be like black men hate each other, especially. That's a lot of black men love each other, got love for each other, but sometimes a
Hmm.
lot of black men do let things like money, women, greed, or blocks and turf get in there, and yeah, it might spark something.
Right.
So yeah, it is what it is. But we gonna go and get off of that because, like I say, me and we'll keep going. I already know it. We hit different topic after different topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, man. We might have to get you on here. Probably do something for Thor. We do something for 1804 show. However it go. Like you do something on a podcast or whatever. We might connect on something. You know what I mean, my brother. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know we support you on what you got going on. Anybody that's watching right now, watching later, watching whenever it come on, you can go at any time. You turn your channel on right on the Facebook and go at any
Right,
time and
right.
listen to it. You know what I mean? However you watching, we appreciate you. Go check out the 1804 show. Go check out Dolla Exodus Volume 3. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta say the 1804 show part 2. Chapter 2. So go and just see what he got going on, peep him out, you know what I mean, and stay connected because we beginning of this year, but he got things he got going on. He just rolling, so you know,
Thank
keep
you,
on
bro.
checking him out, man. That's all I can say. Yeah, you did it freeze up?